Hi everyone, welcome and thank you for being here. Let's get on with it. Harry Mountbatten Windsor and his wife, the ex-actress Meghan Markle, landed in Australia. Right off the bat, please do not even try to convince me that this visit was not at least partially set up by the King's staff. And of course, Torben Andre, because you will indeed be wasting your breath. The two of them landed in Melbourne at about 9:30 my time last night, Monday night, and then early Tuesday morning for the Australians, okay? So their first pit stop, the Royal, notice the word Royal, although I know it is part of the name, but hang in there, we'll get to it all. Yep, their first pit stop was at the Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne. Now tell me, who arranged that visit? Sunshine Sacks? No way. No way at all. It is not in their scope of work to arrange such visits at all. Want them to tell you the exact same thing to your face? Well then, send them an email inquiry from their webpage. Although they are involved with some charities and even charity events, this is not something they would do or set up, particularly not in another country. So who then set up this particular visit for Harry and Meghan to the Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne? Well, I'm going to give you at least my opinion. Very, very likely, highly probable for it to have been James Holt. The same James Holt who has resigned from Archewell and who has moved back to the United Kingdom. Remember, James Holt was indeed a palace staffer before he became CEO of Archewell. And let me read you a comment from a Harry and Meghan spokesperson, which is, as we know, either Meghan or James Holt himself. So it reads, James Holt will remain a senior philanthropic advisor for the couple and Archewell Philanthropies, supporting their humanitarian trips overseas in 2026, a spokesman for the Duke and Duchess said. So, not me, not Bookie. There is your answer from the mouth of the Sussexes. James Holt set all these visits up, and I would not be surprised if we actually see him on this trip somewhere in the background. Now, my next question is, who is paying James Holt? He is no longer working for Archewell, so Archewell is not paying him. Harry and Meghan can't pay him. They likely do not have the money. But, yes, Archewell Philanthropies may be paying him, but Archewell Philanthropies is now under management of its fiscal sponsor. Now, do not believe that Harry and Meghan are sponsoring Archewell Philanthropies themselves and handling the administration for Archewell Philanthropies themselves. Because, my dear, that is utter bullshit. They had a choice. Either have some other entity manage or do the administration for you, or you are going to go to court because there were discrepancies, shall we say, in their paperwork. Anyway, let's carry on. A newspaper or magazine or two tried the narrative, saying that it was Harry and Meghan sponsoring Archwell Philanthropies. But they very quickly dropped that narrative. And why? Well, because it is not true. As simple as that. It is not true. Now, you are welcome to believe me in that the Silicon Valley Community Foundation have indeed been trying to identify the new fiscal sponsor and the administrative body or entity, and all they could find is that it is not Harry and Meghan. Now, let me tell you, if it was, say, Oprah Winfrey Charitable Foundation, or say Tyler Perry's Perry Foundation, then it would not have been kept a secret. They would loudly and proudly have announced this new partnership. The only reason, absolutely only reason why it would be kept a secret and so well hidden away would be if A, the sponsor is a wealthy, well-known politician, or then a wealthy, very controversial politician, or B, the British monarchy. Now, I may very well be wrong, but I do not think it is a controversial rich politician. I honestly think Buckingham Palace is the fiscal sponsor and administrator, or then someone who is or was appointed to do the job and who is being paid by Buckingham Palace to do the job. While, they go and pay the bills and make sure that everything is above board. Now, who would this so-called someone be? James Holt. That is who. Okay. Now we are all caught up. So let's continue. 46,000 people have signed a petition demanding that no taxpayer money be spent on Harry and Meghan's visit. So let's look whether any attention had been paid to this particular request as we continue the first day in Australia and take it all the way into their second day. Their second joint visit was to the Australian National Veterans Art Museum in Melbourne. Who do you think arranged and coordinated this particular visit? Sunshine Sacks? I can actually hear you laughing at the joke in the background. Of course not. Would Sunshine Sacks even know about the Australian National Veterans Art Museum in Melbourne? I sincerely doubt it. Again, Buckingham Palace and Charles's cruise, hands and influence is indeed seen as clear as day in this visit. Today, so far, Meghan is at a centre for women run by the Macaulay Community Centre for Women, a centre which supports women and children experiencing family violence, homelessness and related challenges. Now, I could not be bothered to wait for a new update to load. I'll pop back into Jennifer Newton's on behalf of the Mirror's live feed later when I feel like it. But having said that, please listen to this BS. There will be no public meet and greets during the visit due to security and costs associated with keeping public order. All thus, Jennifer Newton for the Mirror. So who the F informed the public that Harry and Meghan will be at the Melbourne Children's Hospital at a certain time on Monday? Casper the Friendly Ghost, or one of his ghostly uncles, Stretch, Stinky, or Fatso? So honestly now, what and who does these open and stupid media lies remind you of? I'll tell you who this reminds me of. Torben Andre and his band of dumb, desperate or sycophantic brothers and sisters. Media spin and lie upon lie upon lie and yet another lie. So let's try and get some truth here, okay? Harry and Meghan arrived in Melbourne via a commercial flight from Los Angeles. They were taken from the tarmac by a convoy of vehicles. Now don't even try to BS me. They were not even removed from the tarmac and driven away on an official visit in South Africa. Yes, they got VIP transport to the terminal, and yes, they were taken to a VIP lounge to be cleared and await their luggage. Only, and I'm going to stress only in capital letters, heads of states are picked up from the tarmac and driven away in a convoy away off the tarmac, away out of the airport. So like I said, do not even try to convince me that this is not a quasi-royal visit and that Buckingham Palace or King Charles's mates or closest courtiers were not involved. If they were not involved, Harry and Meghan would have been treated like normal VIPs or then, say, visiting celebrities and not like the heads of state, i.e. a king or a president. End of story. But wait. What about state funding, Bookie? Oh, they kicked up such a fuss. The visitors privately funded, they hollered. Privately funded by whom? By Oprah? By Tyler Perry? By Elton John? By David Foster? Oops, I forgot. They had fallen out with all of them. Netflix? Not likely, as they do not have an agreement, a contract with Netflix anymore. Or supposedly they don't. Spotify? Lemonade Media? No, none of these. Geez, who is left, I ask of you? I guess it can only be the palace. So no state-funded security, you say? So who the F drove those vehicles which drove Harry and Meghan off the tarmac? Again, was it Casper, Stretch, Stinky, or Fatso? And who paid Casper, Stretch, Stinky, and Fatso? Oh, shame. Oh, shame, because certain people spotted coppers holding the people back at the hospital and some other familiar faces among the security contingent. The poor Australian government had to admit that there will be some policing costs. Oh, shame. Although the likes of Women and Home shouts out in a headline, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle Australia itinerary looks like a carbon copy of a royal tour playbook, blah, blah, blah. No one is doing or saying anything. On the one hand, people will cry and scream and throw tantrums about the cost of living, and at some gas stations in Australia there are signs up because they ran out of petrol or diesel. But on the other hand, the very same people will still go stand and cheer the arrival of Meghan and Harry in a convoy of petrol or diesel guzzling vehicles. I'm not going to say anything further, just that there are no pills for that specific condition, and sometimes, just sometimes, people deserve what they get. And on that note, I wish you love, I wish you safety, and I wish you peace. Bye.